street going in, the driveway going into that.
To the middle school.
Yeah.
It's the whole north parking lot, is it not, Mr. Klein?
Well, it would be the north parking lot. I don't
not
think
the
there's an
street.
underlay between the street and the parking lot. So,
And the reason I'm asking that is because you come in there in the winter months, so forth, I mean, it's.
I think that's the cities though, is it?
Okay.
I think it's the alleyway for the city.
Mark, you was-
city.
Is it the city? Yeah, because it's next to old residents. Yeah, I just wondered, because I was like, you can see that.
The speed bumps.
Oh, yeah, it controls you, that's for sure. I'm sorry.
That's all right, no, we're fine. And we also were gonna replace a lot of the mulch under the playground at the elementary. That was a recommendation from our insurance audit. And so that's the major things. We're still doing 4 rooms of lights and carpets here at the high school. We're done carpeting at the elementary. But the other things will just be small things that we'll handle within our regular budget. I don't think there'll be anything that we need to use the building fund for. I think Mr. Klein at the middle school is fixing a leak in a roof, but he thought if we've got 4,000 or 5,000, we may need that out of building fund. But if we have room in our regular budget, we'll just do it out of regular budget, so.
Are we keeping track of the segments of the roof that are being done every few years, so we keep track of what's old and what needs to be looked at?
You know, since I've been here, we haven't done anything to these 2 buildings except patch a little bit. The whole elementary's been redone. That's all new roof, but no, I have no idea where we're at on segments here. They're both out of warranty. I know that there is a plan telling us which one got done last, which piece somewhere. I think Joey's got it on file.
I know
but
we used to have a diagram every year we'd look at, and Zumba from Hastings.
Zimba.
Zumba.
Yes.
So, I don't know, if they have that, or you have it in your files, or,
Roger, Zimbas came out last month and did an inspection for us, and they are able to communicate in their report. They know which parts of the roof were done in what particular years, and so they have that in their report.
So those are the main things. I mean, something could pop up and we'll bring it to the board, but right now, that's the stuff that we're planning on doing, just the normal.
Mr. Klein, that was with the high school too? That was all 3 facilities they were doing, or just the junior?
He's got it for all 3, I know. I don't know if we have it, I'm assuming we have a copy, but.
I only know about the middle school, Roger. It wasn't sure. But they'd come out and done an inspection and give us a report.
It seemed like it was the high school we always had problems with, but we started every year keeping track of that. I don't know, but
We still have a problem in one area, but we think it's coming off the tuck pointing in that extension that goes up on the north side. And it's coming down into the home ec room, the leak. But we've had people look at it, and there's really, they say nothing to repair, that we'll probably have to replace the actual tuck pointing between the mortar of the brick. So we may try to get an estimate on that for the building and grounds to look at for next fall, so. That's it on summer work, folks, Sean.
Okay. Any questions, folks? Not, we'll move on to C, Mabel Matthews, Nedza Scholarship. That's a mouthful. I'm sorry.
Did everyone turn in their ballot?
I have a question first. Does it, I know the selection is based on financial need and academic ability. I can't remember, did it matter? Or did it emphasize one over the other?
It did not. It said both. It just said and. It said academic ability and
Well, I figured
financial
out
need.
who they were. Okay, I just wanted to know before.
Do you guys want to do this tonight? Are you comfortable with me and Jody doing it? Would you rather do it yourself and find out if A, B, or C?
Do we want to wait and announce it?
Yeah, all we're gonna know right now is A, B, or C, and we'll just wait announcing the graduation, but I didn't know if you would like to do the actual counting.
I think we should do it.
I don't have Dennis's yet. He said he's gonna be gone, but
Sure,
do you wanna wait till we get his?
That's fine. Probably should.
I'm sure he'll get it to me. Is it okay if I count, or do you, a couple of you want to come and count? Or I can do it any way you want to do it.
For some of us, you were able to figure out who they were, so I just
Yeah.
did not know.
They had enough in their writing as who they were. I think for some of you could probably figure it out. Okay. Another thing, that's still a great thing for this lady to do. And she doesn't have a lot of family, I mean, at least not immediate family. I think she's got family, but not immediate. So I wrote a letter to like a niece at the time and never heard back from them, thanking them for it. But we'll make sure at graduation that we read that paragraph about her, so. Did they get, okay.
Okay. Next up is D, budget 2011-2012.
All right, that's this orange thing. And I'm gonna go slow, and I'm not offending that you can't understand it. I just want to say that school district budgets are a different world, and I've worked with them for 10 years and I enjoy it, but I can't tell you that I understand everything about it either. One of the confusions with this one has caused me some concern, but I'm going to go through the orange sheet and then each one behind it. And I will say I spent last week talking with Paul Sheffield at Exeter Milligan, who did it, and Curtis Cogswell at McCool Junction, and they did it. And then when I went to our conference superintendent meeting last Wednesday, I think 9 out of the 12 are going to do it, and the other 3 didn't know anything about it. If you don't do it in May, you can't do it any longer. Okay? It's got to be done by May. That's why it's critically important. And if the board chooses not to do it, we'll do the best we can. But I want to at least go through this proposal. So we received from the Department of Ed our recalculated state aid. We already knew that was going to go down. While state aid did drop as expected, the more concerning factor to me is our lack of budget authority that has been decreased. There is a provision in LB 235 that eradicates a school district's unused budget authority. This unused budget authority, UBA, is an amount a school district could have budgeted to spend, but has chosen not to do so. Some schools have very little budget authority. Centennial in our conference, for example, they only have like 30,000 of unused budget authority because they've always budgeted their max. We have always tried to keep our budget down, and we build up an authority of $3.5 million. So it's taken us time to get there, but like I said, the state is going to make that 0 after next year. We won't have any unused budget authority. Our total adjusted budget for the current year was $4,826,000 after subtracting special ed, special grants, and some exclusions. We had the ability to budget another $3.5 million greater than that if we wanted to, but we chose not to. Of course, we weren't going to raise the levy to spend it anyway. Okay? The 2011-12 budget authority cap would put our maximum adjusted budget at $4,896,000. That's just $70,000 larger than that number in the preceding paragraph. By amending our budget, we can add some flexibility for not only next year, but for 12 and 13, because this is a 2-year, LB 235 is for 2 years. This is recommended by Janice Arrett, and Janice is who I work with every year on the budget, and Russ Inbody, who's the Director of School Finance. Okay? 2 things to keep in mind. I think these 2 bullets really would be for the public if you had to respond to the public when they ask you what's going on. Number 1 bullet, the levy will not change. The levies are set in October, so we're not asking for any more taxes to amend this budget. And the second bullet is we're going to take money, if you approve, of course, from cash reserve, add it into our budget to create more budget authority. However, we have no intention of spending that. We still have the same cash reserve as before. It will just show up as unused budget rather than cash reserve. I'll give you an example, then I'll show you through here. Right now, we have a cash reserve of $1.8 million. On our budget document, if I just take $1 million out of that and put it in the budget, then we show $800,000 in cash reserve, and now our adjusted budget is not 4.8, it's 5.8, because I got $1 million in budget. And I'll put it in a line item like 8,000 transfers or whatever and just not spend it, it's still there. okay? It's not our goal to spend our cash reserve, and I've worked hard at it, and those of you that know me know that I have, so it's just a matter of moving it and showing it somewhere else. That way, instead of having only 70,000 this year and maybe 74,000 next year, we have a $5.8 million budget that we have flexibility. Will we have to raise taxes? No, we're already generating enough money at 95 cents. If valuations go up like they say they're going to, I anticipate we'll probably drop the levy for the third or fourth consecutive year. So it really has nothing to do with levy. It just has to do with where I'm showing the cash and where I'm not. If I show it in our budget, it just gives us some flexibility, some room, because they're taking the $3.5 million away that we used to use that for. Okay. So,
How do they get that figure, our adjusted maximum budget is 4.8, the 70 million, or 70,000 higher, how do they, that's just a formula, and that's, if we wanted to, we couldn't adjust it 100,000 or 200,
no.
it has,
we-
we're
we're
at 70.
we're stuck. It's a formula, Jim. It's 1.115% of our, there's a bunch of language here, but
Right.
if any of you would ever want to go through it, I'll sit down with you, but there's a formula that showed us. And I was off the first time on the formula, but only by a few thousand. But, we knew state aid was going to nothing. We've known that all along. And it's still going to be 60,000 next year, it's a bonus. But the budget cap is what's killing us. And the governor and Senator Adams and some others, they wanted this done because there's 48 schools like us that have low levies and get hardly any state aid anymore. So we could pretty much have the freedom to do what we want. I tried to convince them that we don't overspend anyway. But all the schools that are losing state aid are cutting positions, and their thought was everybody has to feel the pain. Not just the state aid schools, everybody. So they put this budget cap in, and it was a lot more extensive than what I anticipated. I really didn't worry about it because we always spend $300,000 or $400,000 less than our budget every year. And then that adds to your unused budget authority. Well, when they wipe your unused budget authority to zero, all your good hard-earned savings and what you've done really goes away. I can show you that better in the next 4 things, okay? And then we'll answer whatever questions that you have, and I'll do the best I can, okay? This next page, this was the first thing I do every August before I file my budget is fill out a form called the LC2. And this tells me what I can spend, how much money I could have. And so if you read that top line, my certified budget authority was $8.3 million. That does not include special ed, special grants, or anything. That's only what we would spend on regular education, $8.3 million, okay? If you would jump to B110, there's our special grants. And here's a problem with our special grants, but there's our special grants. It includes any federal money, Title I, IDA, but we also get an exclusion. We put the boys' home revenue in there because Health and Human Services gives us money, then we provide the education and we pay the bill. So we put that in there also. Now it was $410,000 if you remember last year. So from your $8,300,000, you subtract that $792,000. You subtract our special education budget of disbursements, which we usually spend about $1.5 million, but I always inflate it a little bit because with the boys' home, you never know. You just don't know how big it's going to be, and they're almost all special ed. Almost all. There's an occasionally one that isn't. And then lit exclusions, they raised the retirement factor last year, and they allowed us to subtract that off. So that first green mark is that actual general fund budget that we had for this year, not counting those other things. Right below that is the 3.5 million. In other words, from that 4.8, I could have added 3.5, and we could have had a budget of $8,329,000. But again, we don't. We're not raising the levy. We're staying at 95 cents. Even raising the levy, we couldn't have spent $8 million. I couldn't have raised it that high. So it wasn't doing us a whole lot of good. And then our cash reserve is down there in the green. Now this was last fall again. So remember now on this orange sheet, they showed us they were making that green number $4,870,000. They're going to work the formula backwards now this year. You're going to start with that green number, it's 70,000 bigger, and then you're going to add back up to reach that top number.